Good morning. Welcome to the upper deck. I'm Lynn. This is not the Chris that you used to seeing, but it's a good one. Catch us with everything we want to stir the pot with right in a moment. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the upper deck. And thank you for being here. So I am very so happy to have Chris Pizzaya here with me from Talking Rivals, a good friend and collaborator all the time. So, Chris, thank you so much for joining us, and tell us what's going on with you and with Talking Rivals.
Nothing much. Thank you, Lynn, for inviting me. It's always great to see you. Always great to chat. I'm with all the other Yankee fans watching the playoffs unravel in front of us instead of with us, right? And unfortunately, the Astros on the verge of getting to the World Series again. Altuve with another big home run to win a game. We're getting kind of tired of seeing that too, but it's unfortunate. But just like all the other Yankee fans, we're all waiting for the offseason to start so we could see what changes that are going to happen, because we know a lot of changes are going to happen with the Yankees, hopefully. That's it. That's it. That's all I'm praying and hoping for. So we'll see.
Yep. And tell us about Talking Rivals and what it's all about and how we could find you.
Thanks. Talking Rivals is a podcast that I co-host with my good friend Patrick Trotty. We basically cover the Yankees and the Red Sox, but we also get into obviously Major League Baseball as well. But we're friends, so we're not the usual Yankees versus Red Sox. We try to prove the point that Yankees and Red Sox fans can get along with each other. So we have great conversations every week. We usually put it out on Mondays. This week we might go a little bit on Tuesday or Wednesday just to kind of wait till the championship series is over so we could talk about previewing the World Series coming up. Hopefully it's not the Astros, but it's looking more and more like that. So you can find us at Talking Rivals on Twitter, X, and you can find us wherever you find your podcasts called Talking Rivals.
Yep, and I'm putting in a plug as a listener. You guys are really going to want to check it out, and it's true. Chris and Patrick do show you that you can like different teams and still be good friends. So maybe the world needs to watch that podcast, and the world would be in a better shape.
There you go. Right.
Right. So hey, I want to say hi to everyone that's joined us in the chat. NFE, Dev, Uncle Tats, FJ, what's up? And thank you all for being here. So we always kick off or try to remember to kick off the trivia question of the week, which comes to us every week from our friend Spencer. Those of you that are on Twitter X know him as at Musics and DMD. So here it is. Despite 2023 being Houston's 7th straight appearance, the New York Yankees have reached the ALCS 18 times, still more than any other franchise. Which New York Yankee won the 2009 ALCS MVP? So I will give the answer at the end of the show, but put your guesses in the chat. And thank you, as always, Spencer, for the really good question and for making me say Houston. I appreciate
that. We're still saying that word, unfortunately.
And Altuve is like my like I feel like Seinfeld watchers out there. Altuve.
I really don't want to hear that name, but unfortunately we're going to hear it more.
Really don't want to hear that. And so if you notice the title of today's show, it's Stirring the Pot. And so that means that we're going to go anywhere we want to go around the hot stove here. Always with, Yankee stuff, but let's get into some controversy. Let's get into some theories, and do a little bit of good old fashioned gossip, and talk through all of that. So fun and free flying today, and I'm gonna start things off with this little beauty.
This little beauty. That's a good one. That's a good way to say it.
All right, guys. If you haven't seen it, where have you been? So, A-Rod was being interviewed by WFAN, and poor little A-Wad, poor little A-Wad, um, he is just so very sad that he is not a retired number um, in the stadium. What do we got to say about that? First of all, you leave Gallo out of this. How dare you? Um,
Right. Yankee legend he was.
yes, steroid free he was, but it did not make me happy. It did not make him happy, and he wants it. He should be recognized. And yeah, you're right. Not your decision, pal.
Yeah.
So
Listen, if it was just his if it was just about his numbers, right? Obviously, he'd have his number retired already, right? There's no doubt. His numbers definitely are good enough. Not good enough, great enough. But people got to remember this guy took steroids, so his numbers are tainted. His numbers mean nothing, right? And he admitted to taking steroids after he signed his contract with the Rangers before he even got to the Yankees. So his numbers are just tainted. And remember how it ended, how he got, him leaving, he was trying to sue the Yankees and their doctors and Major League Baseball because they were saying he took steroids, blah 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 blah, all that stuff. I'm sorry. He cannot have his number retired. You can't put his number next to all the other great Yankees out there in center field. Okay? I'm sorry. You just can't. With how he, completely embarrassed the franchise of how he, with not just taking the steroids, but how he acted at the end, trying to sue the team and all that stuff. No.
yeah, let's not forget that. Funny how he didn't raise that.
No.
Um,
No.
and so and
And I like A-Rod. I'm not an A-Rod hater. I love when he's on TV because he talks baseball as good or better than anybody around, right? He's a student of the game, right? So he knows baseball better than anybody. So if he talks baseball, I'm there. So I'm not hating on the guy. Trust me. I'm not a A-Rod hater whatsoever. I appreciate everything, but no, he can't have his number retired.
no,
No.
and I agree with you. I have to give it to him. He's an excellent analyst in the booth. He breaks down all the plays, and makes sense when umpires make questionable decisions, or when a hit goes a certain way.
Right.
And yeah, you're right, Tats. You get a lawsuit.
That's
You
it.
get a lawsuit. Everybody gets a lawsuit. Oh, NFE beat me to it in the chat. We're thinking a lot alike today, NFE. And so I put this up from FG because boy, there's some split decisions out there about this, split opinions. So let's talk about what some of the pro sayers are, and saying, well, Andy Pennett's number is up there, and he took steroids.
Right. But he admitted to only taking it while he was injured and to get back from his injury. So, and he admitted to it, right? He went in front of Congress or whatever.
Yes.
He admitted to it, and he admitted to only taking it for a short period of time. Listen, whether that's true or not, we don't know. But I'm going to take him. I'll believe him over A-Rod any day. But listen, I'm and here's the other thing. Like when I'm talking about with steroids, right? In fairness, there were other players with talented numbers due to steroids and were left off the hook. Big Poppy, Ryan Braun, exactly, and there were many others. And I agree, but you can't honor a guy the way A-Rod wants to be honored. You know what I mean? You can't give this guy that kind of honor to put his number next to, Mickey Mantle and Lou Gehrig and
Right.
Babe Ruth, all those. You can't. Derek Jeter. No, you can't. You can't.
That's right. And so and this is like a Yankee focused, thing here. So, yeah, so the Red Sox said, "Okay, Poppy, you brought us in gazillions of dollars and you're a good guy. Everyone loves you.
Right.
So we're going to turn the other way."
Of
Um,
course.
but that's just not the Yankee way. And, you know, and the other thing is, A-Rod's not going to get into the Hall of Fame for it. And so, but Poppy obviously did.
And you know what? And getting back with the Hall of Fame, to me, that's different because I think a guy like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, right? Because they were taking steroids in a time when, yes, technically it was illegal, but they weren't testing for it. So you can't really blame these guys for doing what they were doing. And the teams were kind of, like not really pushing it on them, but they weren't telling them not to take it either at the same time, right? So I'm okay with Bonds and Clemens making it in, but guys that tested positive or took it after they started testing for it, no, those guys should not be in. And I'm sure there's guys in the Hall of Fame now that took steroids, right? We kind of,
Oh, 100%.
right. We kind of know that, but so it's a, you could go either way on this, but with retiring the number for the Yankees, I don't think is right because you're putting his name up and his number up there with all the other great Yankees. And I don't think the ones that are alive would not appreciate his number being up there next to theirs.
That's right. And let's face it, we're going to have to build a bigger stadium if we retire many more numbers at
Yeah.
this point.
I hope so. I hope we do retire more. That means we're doing good.
And I hope we get a bigger stadium with a roof. Yes.
Right. There you go.
The point.
That's a whole other issue. All baseball stadiums should have a
I
roof.
said I'd take us far and wide today.
Yeah. No. We could go deep with that too. Trust me.
Maybe that'll be the title next week, but build roof house. Yeah, and so what Tats is saying is Andy has integrity, like and
Right.
he was clean because he found out it was on the illegal list too. So I could have grace for somebody who just didn't know what they didn't know. And NFE says the question to ask is if MLB allowed it. No one said anything as far as I know. Well,
right. That was my point. Before they started testing for it, it was technically illegal to take steroids, but nobody was testing for it. So yeah, I agree. I agree. The team, the player, the teams, the league were kind of like, yeah, hey, everything's going good, right? The 98 season, everybody was watching baseball with the home run race and all that. No, of course. Listen, they're not going to say, oh no, they're taking steroids. This little thing we did was, illegal and stuff. So
yeah,
to me, yeah, actually, Bonds was a Hall of Famer with or without Pete. I totally agree. I'm not disagreeing whatsoever.
excellent point, Li. And let's look
Totally
at
agree.
Pettit was was like, all right, not, a retired number kind of guy.
Right.
After that short stint, supposedly on medical reasons.
Right.
Was A-Rod before and after? When you think about before he was caught, would
He
we
was probably on that list.
about Bonds about A-Rod as we do about Bonds?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, maybe I should make it make sense.
No, that's okay.
Would we? You're a morning person. I am so not. And I think anyone that listens, if you haven't noticed that by now,
That's okay.
yeah. What about A-Rod? Was A-Rod, the excellent player that he was when he wasn't taking steroids? Wasn't performance and output?
Well, we have to know when he did, right? Supposedly he started taking it before or after he signed the contract with the Rangers. So when you look at his numbers playing for Seattle, yeah, he was definitely on the track to be a Hall of Famer and probably would have been a Hall of Famer if he didn't take the steroids. He wouldn't have been probably a 50-50 guy, 50 home runs, 100 whatever, all those MVPs, but he still would have been a great player and probably still would have made the Hall of Fame. Absolutely.
Right.
I think so.
Okay.
He's a great player. I mean, let's be honest.
There's no question. Well, Patsu Joe is coming in hot.
There you go.
Any player that takes steroids should be fired. Pay back every penny. and never looked
Wow.
at the game.
Okay.
Suspended from baseball altogether.
Yeah, if they test positive, absolutely, I agree. Get them suspended, and that's what happened, right? Look what happened to Cano, our great second baseman. Not when he was with us, but he tested positive, and then he tested positive again, and that's why he was suspended for a whole season.
That's right. Yep.
But he was a Hall of Famer. If he never went to Seattle and he stayed with us, and he had the career that he was having, he would have had his number retired. He would have been a Hall of Famer, all of that.
Yep.
But look in the direction he went.
Yep. He threw it all. He threw it all away for that. Yep. And so and NFE when he talks, let these guys take anything. Viewership was high and people were tuning in. So NFE is pro steroids.
Absolutely.
Well, if you're going to be pro steroids, everybody better be pro sticky stuff too, and make that go away and let pitchers.
Right, that's a whole other thing.
Well, but it's apples and oranges, but they're both fruits.
There you go. There you go.
Right?
Exactly.
And so there is a connection here. If we're going to take that take, then bring back
right.
spider tack. I say.
Right.
So we want the fun. We want baseball in October. Other than someone else's team. So really interesting takes. No, and NFE, I know I'm having fun and taking your comment, to other levels. But yes, I got the point, but I also got the point, and so and I just ran with it from there. So that's the little fun on A-Rod. And so I am going to share let's pivot to the baseball we have been able to watch. And I'm going to start with my favorite postseason player. Not. Let's talk about Altuve, baby. So hey, look at this from JC. What's good, JC? During the Yankees dynasty years, you can name several big moments by many players. With the Astros, it's always been one guy over and over. Hate him all you want, but that little bleep gets it done. Gotta give credit.
Absolutely. You got to give the guy credit. And for the people that are saying he's not a Hall of Famer because of that cheating scandal in 2017, I think I think you're crazy. The guy is going to be a Hall of Famer and most likely first ballot. I hate him just as much as anybody else. Trust me. I hate him. But you know what? He's going to be a Hall of Famer, and we got to accept that. He's just a great player. And yeah, they did, with the cheating thing in 2017. Listen, Major League Baseball dropped the ball on that. They couldn't have suspended the whole team, right? They're not going to suspend the whole team going into a season, right? But they should have took that title away from them. It's as simple as that. But here's the other side of that, right? And they did their reviews on it and all that. They didn't cheat during the playoffs, right? And if they didn't cheat during the playoffs, I could understand why you don't take that championship away. I still think they should have because they got there because, cheating helped them. But listen, these last 7 years has proven that this is a great team, regardless of the cheating or not. This is a great team because year in, year out, ALCS, World Series, year after year after year. And they just prove it every single year. I actually caught a good documentary on the cheating scandal, and it was really good. It was called The Astros Edge. It's on YouTube. It was originally aired on PBS. It was called The Astros Edge: Triumph and Scandal in Major League Baseball.
Ooh.
Definitely check it out. I'll post the link after you post the show with it, so you guys can check it out. It's definitely worth a watch because it shows how the Astros were built, because they were really bad for a while, so they were getting the high draft picks. But you could see how they cleaned house and started over and all that, and then they get into the cheating scandal, and I think people will look at it a little differently than the way we do. So it's definitely something to check out. They did cheat. I'm not saying they didn't cheat, obviously, but you'll see how when they started and basically when they stopped cheating and all that. So
Yeah.
it's worth a look. I'll post it. It's definitely worth a look.
That's interesting, and I'm glad you brought it up because I also read on Twitter X, because everything's true on Twitter X, just like on the internet. But somebody said that the Astros take it all this year. They are a dynasty. They should be called a dynasty as well. And
Right.
based on everything you're saying, and it's interesting how this documentary you're talking about sounds very similar to the 90s Yankees and what they did and where they got.
Right.
Fairly aligned there. And Li, nope, nope, never. How did that work out for Vladdy Jr. when he said that?
Yeah.
Um,
No, Pedro said that.
well, and so did Vladdy Jr. Remember that home
Oh
run,
yeah.
running a home run, saying I'm your daddy. Yeah, there's a lot of daddies running around,
Right.
but in reverse, none of the children want to claim them.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so,
I posted the link in the chat as we're talking. I just posted it in the chat.
that's
So
awesome. Thank you. I'm definitely going to check that
yeah,
out.
definitely check it out. Everybody should check it out. It's very interesting.
Yep. Yeah, definitely got to see that. And Warren France, and this is all I'm gonna give my breath to for Altuve. Second most home runs in MLB playoff history. The Astros are the true evil empire, and he is Darth Vader. I swear Garcia ruined that entire game to give the reigning champs blah blah blah. So are we? Is Altuve as laudable? And I'm hearing you, Chris, and first ballot Hall of Famers, what you're throwing down. But I would have to wonder, will there at least be an asterisk next to his name on the ballot?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think, listen, the only thing that they could possibly do is not put him in first ballot, like make him wait a year or two. Maybe that's what they'll do, but I don't even think that'll happen. I think he's going to go first ballot. I think the cheating scandal is behind everybody but us, unfortunately. Like we're still feeling it, obviously, because we felt like the title was taken away from us. The MVP was taken away from us as well. Judge should have won MVP that year. But I think he gets first ballot. If he doesn't, he'll go in second or third, and that's going to be like their slap on the wrist for him. Like it's going to matter, but he's still going to be a Hall of Famer. That's the bottom line, I think.
The bottom line there. And so Li's rebutting my response to his comment. Have we beaten the Astros when it matters?
No, we haven't. He's absolutely right. In the playoffs, we haven't gotten it done. And until we get it done, they're our daddy when it comes to that. The playoffs, absolutely. Like we swept them this year, right? In Houston. That was great. But, it was great. But that means, I don't want to say it means nothing, but it means nothing compared to beating them in the playoffs, right? And we haven't done that yet. So until we beat them, and going back to 2017 quickly, even if they were cheating in that series against us, let's say if they were cheating, it was still on us because we scored 5 runs in the 4 games in Houston, and they weren't cheating from our, to make our hitting go down, right? It was to gain an advantage when they were hitting. So they gained no advantage. We just didn't get it done. And guess what? That's been our problem for the last 6, 7, 8 years. We're not getting it done in the playoffs. That's a whole other discussion. Our offense is just not getting it done in the playoffs. That's got to change. If that doesn't change, we're not going to get past Houston. We're not going to get past anybody in the playoffs.
Wow. I the truth hurts.
I'm sorry. It's the truth. No, I try not to lie. I'm not like that. I'm very honest.
I have to let that go through a minute.
Yeah.
But to cap things off, let me just mention, as if anyone doesn't know, the Astros can clinch tonight.
Yeah.
And
let's hope not. Trust me, I'm crossing my fingers and all that. I'd love to see, at the very least, I want to see Texas force a game 7. At least that. Make them sweat a little bit, right? Whatever. At least do that. I'm hoping for that at least.
Yeah, please let them sweat till the very end.
Right.
Throw us that bones.
Yep.
And yeah, Li 100% agree. I mean, NFE, sorry. That the bats have to be addressed this season.
Absolutely.
There's
100%.
100%. Um,
Yeah, we can't, you know what? We can't go into a season again crossing our fingers and hoping like, oh, let's hope Stanton stays healthy and is okay, or let's hope Rizzo bounces back after, the concussion issue. We can't, oh, let's hope DJ bounces back. We can't count on these guys, giving us all that. We got to get younger, hungry players on this team. We have to. We can't have guys that are, you know, on the wrong side of 30 and could possibly or will probably get injured at some point. We can't count on those guys.
right. And we can't afford to bring, injured players in.
Right, exactly.
Like we have been. And
Right.
and FG 100%. Nothing done all
Absolutely.
year, which is why we're not here talking about four
Right.
other teams. Um, and so, and NFE, you got the jokes. Okay.
Exactly. That's perfect. Franchi Cordero, Jake Bowers, Billy McKinney, what was it? Willie Calhoun. How do we get these guys on the roster? Those guys should not be on our roster going into the season, right? We got to have that's the big thing. Roster, roster management has been so bad for Cashman. How do you get those guys as our bench players, or as our guys are, okay, in case our stars get hurt, we're going to bring in, guys that are AAA players, on our, oh, we're ready. We got Jake Bowers. We're good. No. Every team, think about it. Every team in the league, every team in the playoffs, every team in every sport deals with injuries, right? You can't go a season without getting injured. So you got to prepare for injuries because they're going to happen, whether it's to your stars or to your minor players. It's going to happen. So you got to build your roster, much better than what Cashman has done the last few years. It just has to. You can't have Jake Bowers and McKinney, Willie Calhoun, those guys as starting guys for us. We just can't. It's just impossible.
No, just like stop cashing in, coupons and, taking the pennies and rolling them up and bringing them to the bank. Open up the wallet. We've been saying it for decades, and still nothing. And Dev, I'm very sorry for your loss. Just want to say that and acknowledge
Yes,
it.
absolutely. Our
Certainly.
thoughts and prayers are with you and your family.
Um, so, and thank you for sharing that with us. And welcome, Joe. Good to see you. And so let me just, Dev is saying that, um, that I guess Dev, you must mean Cashman here. That you hear him yelling, let's go Phillies."
And Red October, absolutely. I'm rooting for the Phillies too. I'm with him. I don't want to see the D-backs win it. I don't even want to see Texas win it. So I want to see the Phillies win it. So
Yep, I do, and
okay.
I want the National League to take it all. I don't want to face, the American League in any division, with the trophy, even though, we'll face everybody at some point. So to everything we were just saying, then let's turn to Yankee World a bit more. So I guess, allegedly Hal is holding another press conference, shortly. And my burning question is, will his pants be the right length this time? Everyone in the chat, let me know what they think about that. Will he be wearing capris? Will he be wearing capris and a cute sandal, or will his trousers meet his loafers?
Yeah.
But but seriously, what's up
Hope
with
so.
that? What does he think? What does he think we are? And what is he
Right.
going? And how brave is he if it's going to be the same nothing? What do you
Right.
think?
I don't. Yeah, it is. It's what it's going to be. It's going to be like, yeah, we're not happy. We didn't make the playoffs. You know, This is unacceptable for us, and blah blah. It's going to be all that. He's not going to listen. He's not firing Cashman, and he's not going to fire Boone, right? And that's what the fans want to see. So, what else is he going to do? It's probably going to be something internal. Like the guys that we don't really even know anyway about. Analytical crap is probably going to go. So, I like what Bobby. I like what Tat said. Yeah. Yeah. Why is Lynn obsessed with house pants? That's a question we need to answer here on the podcast.
Because I'm secretly obsessed with Hal in general.
See, there you go. Okay.
Keep
Yeah.
keep it just between us, guys.
Right.
No, Lynn is obsessed with an easy joke.
Yeah, exactly. But no, but we're gonna get the same talk. I don't care. Listen, he could say whatever he wants. He could say we can't miss the playoffs again. I don't care what he says. I want to see results, right? I want to see these guys do something. I want to see Cashman, restructure this roster to something that's going to be able to win a championship. I'm just tired of the same, and I'm tired of the injury excuse. We hear that every year. Well, if we didn't lose, if Judge didn't miss 50 games, we'd be in the playoffs. If Rizzo didn't get hurt, we'd be in the playoffs. I'm tired of hearing that. That's not what the Yankees should be about.
No.
Every team has to deal with injuries. Look at the Dodgers. The Dodgers, like three-fifths of their rotation was out, and they still won like 100 games, won their division. Yeah, they stuck in the playoffs, but still,
you're correct.
They got it done.
Absolutely. But hey, let's take we ended the season at 500, and sleep well during the winter on that. And so, NFE, okay, get ready to pay a bit more for chicken buckets.
Oh, definitely. If they start signing guys, absolutely, that's going to happen.
And LI threw down further and said, we'll get another nothing burger with bullcat crap fries on the side. Yay!
Absolutely. I'm not expecting anything what he's going to say, because what do we want him to say outside of getting firing guys? What do we really want him to say? I want him to say, I'm done. I'm tired of not winning a champ. I want him to talk like his dad used to. Like, we have to win a championship, not, we'd like to win a championship or we'd like to be better. No,
that's right.
Be like your dad, say we have to win a championship. That's what this team is about. Anything less is a failure.
Yeah. I don't think Hal has to worry about meeting St. Peter at the gate. He's going to have to worry about meeting his dad there.
I would love Kim. I would love Kim to be Cashman's boss.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought her up, FG, because who wouldn't? There's no sign of her being interested anywhere for that, but New York for that matter. I'm loving the fact that she declined the Red Sox. So that should tell you everything you need to know about her smarts. But I would love to see Kim in a high profile big franchise, and come do the things that need to be done, because she has the right balance.
Yep.
She has that balance between players and trust and trusting the game and their process and the numbers. So good for her. She does want Cashman power, and who could blame her? LI, and she's qualified to have that power. And you're right, NFE. The balloon is burst before we even blow it up. Tats is going to speak up for Hal. Let's see what he says. I'll give Hal a little credit for us. He's making himself available right now from the get-go for the Yankees off season.
He's not hiding. Yeah, I guess so. But you know what? It's just going to be whatever he's going to say is not going to mean anything. We have to see results. I don't care what he says. I want to see action. I want to see change of this, because this roster is just done. It's not going to win. It's not going to even get into the playoffs. Obviously, we didn't get in this year, right? We're tired of the injury excuse. We're tired of seeing the same roster construction year after year after year. It's time for change. And there's guys that they could move now. They could definitely change this roster around if they really want to. Like, let's see what Cashman could do.
Right. 100%. And yeah, he's made himself available to us. There's no doubt about that. But it's been ineffective. It would be one thing if he was making himself available and giving us some facts, some like statements of accountability, followed up with, we acknowledge this, so here's what we are doing, and I'll report back to you at the end of it. And what did that look like in his, high waters press conference? Oh, things got really, rough in there for a minute. There was some tough moments in there. Yeah, but you know what? Now what? Crickets, and will we hear crickets, till the end? And so let's pivot to those prospects then. So, and let's start with these four championship teams we're looking at right now. So on these teams, who's going to be available that we should be considering? We've done a lot of talking on this show already about prospects, but let's focus on these four for a minute.
Okay. Well, when you look at the Phillies, right? Let's start with them. The Phillies have a couple of free agents. I don't know if they're gonna really. I mean, if we lose out on Yamamoto from Japan, then you could look at maybe Aaron Nola as a starter for us. They also added Lorenzen towards the end. I don't know if he's really that. I don't know if he's much of an upgrade for us. But Nola would be a guy I would think about signing for sure. Maybe let me see. What's another? If we look at Arizona, I don't think Arizona had many big name free agents.
What about Rangers?
The Rangers.
Rangers,
Let's see.
I think a beloved pitcher of ours is good.
Montgomery is a possibility. But here's the thing. Yeah, it's great, and he would be a good fallback if we don't get Yamamoto. But will he want to come back here? I don't know if he'll want to come back here. Right? He remember after he left, he said a few not so nice things about the team, about the coaching. So I don't know if he'd want to come back here. And there's going to be a couple other teams that want. Listen, he's going to be one of the more wanted guys out there. So yeah, I like Nola. If he's available, I would definitely look into him. Montgomery, he was always solid for us. So, but I think Nola's maybe a notch better than Montgomery. So I would definitely look into him as well. The Rangers also Martin Perez, another starter. He's a lefty. Andrew Haney. We're not going to go get him, obviously. The one guy I would think about from the Rangers would be their closer, Leclerc. I know he had a kind of a meltdown in the last game, giving up the home run to Altuve, but he's been pretty solid. He's only 29 or 30 years old, so that might be a decent option. Blake Snell, that's not what he's pitched for Tampa Bay, so he's pitched in our division. The only thing I don't like about Snell is he doesn't go far. He doesn't go deep in games, right? After 5 innings, it looks like he gets shaky. That's the only thing that kind of bothers me about him.
Right.
Yeah, I think Yamamoto should be the number one option. The guy from Japan. I think he should be the number one option pitching wise for the Yankees to go after.
Yep.
After that, all these guys are like, they kind of, I don't want to say they're the same pitcher, but they're all kind of in the same, there'd be really good fallback options. I'm not,
Right.
Nola, him, Blake Snell, all those guys. We talked about another guy before the show started, Eduardo Rodriguez from Detroit.
Right.
He's probably going to opt out of his deal. He's a left-hander. He pitched for Boston a few years ago, so he's pitched in the division as well. So he could probably handle it too. He's a left-hander. He's about 30. So that's another option, fallback, if they don't get Yamamoto. Because if they get Yamamoto, I think they're going to be set with the rotation. They might sign lower free agents kind of as depth, because you never have enough pitching, obviously. We say that every year, and it comes true for a lot of us. So
yeah, 100%. And Carlos, hey, by the way, I think I missed you coming in. Thanks for joining us today. You're representing the chat here for sure when you say that Monty's staying.
Yeah, I
I
think so. I
think
think he's
that's
right.
true. And then we have this tweet from Angry Mike Yankees. Is an off season of acquiring Young Ho Lee, Bellinger, Hader, and Yamamoto enough for the Yankees to win a title in 2024?
All right. If that's not enough, I don't know what will be, right? I mean, how much more do we have to go to $400 million payroll? Like that should be enough. If they really acquire those guys, I don't think they can acquire all of them, obviously, but if they get, Jung Ho Lee, he's an outfielder. Bellinger, also another outfielder. If they get Hader, the closer, and Yamamoto, yeah. If they get all of those guys and we don't win a championship, yeah, then there's a problem, obviously. I
Yeah,
mean, how much more like the money that is being spent, the amount is not the problem. It's what they're spending the money on, obviously, right? So listen, all those guys would be great. If we get two of those, I'll be happy, right? If we get Bellinger and Yamamoto, I'll be happy, right? And kind of fill in the rest with, maybe second and third tier free agents. So
yeah. And I think it's I think a lot of us will really be jaws dropped if Yamamoto doesn't come because
yeah, I agree with Jonathan. If they get Lee, they won't get Bellinger,
yeah,
because he's the
yeah.
outfielder.
Why would you get two of the essentially same?
Right. Bellinger, he's a lot of people kind of like, oh, what if he goes back to his bad year he had with LA? But he looked really good last year, this past season, I should say, with Chicago. Um, and you know what? The one thing I like about Bellinger is not just that he's a gold glove center fielder, but he could play center, he could play left, but he could also play first base. So if and when Rizzo does leave the team eventually, because this is his last season, he does have an option year, a team option for another year. So in another year or two, if he leaves, Bellinger can slide right into to be the first baseman. And at center field, we know we got Dominguez coming back. Hopefully he's everything what we seen at the end of, before he got hurt. So he'll be our center fielder. So I think Bellinger is perfect. I think Bellinger could, down the line play first base. I'm not saying right off the bat, obviously. I put him in center field, and then when Dominguez comes back eventually,
Right.
then you figure it out, center or left for both of them. And then in another year or two, if Rizzo leaves, then you got him for first base.
That's right, and that's the thing. I wouldn't want him as a stopgap.
Absolutely. Right. No way. It won't be. Yeah.
Utility kind of guy, and so he's not super utility, but having somebody to spell first base who isn't DJ, would be a good thing.
DJ, I hope, getting back to what I was saying, like they can't count on these guys. If they make DJ back to being the backup first baseman, backup second baseman, backup third baseman, like that, but he plays a lot, but don't make him be the guy, right?
Right.
We want him to be that secondary piece. We want him to be that backup to all those positions. So I think if he gets back to that role, I think he'll be fine.
That's right. And Bellinger, DJ, is a good platoon to have, for giving some breaks to guys when they need it, for injuries and whatever. But now, what about this? I haven't seen this discussed much at all anywhere. So the Tigers have a lefty planning to opt out of his contract and will be a free agent. What do we know about Eduardo Rodriguez, and is he somebody we want to think about?
Yeah, I mean, he's a solid left-handed starting pitcher. I like, is he a number 2 on this team? I don't think so. I think if you could make him into a 3, I think he'd be fine, behind Rodon and Cole, obviously. He's another guy you put into that if we don't get Yamamoto. I think Yamamoto is the number 1 guy. That's their number 1 priority. If they get him, then I think the rest of the rotation is fine. Then they could start thinking about secondary pieces or possibly moving 1 or 2, in a Soto deal. So I'm okay with Rodriguez as like a backup option. Right. I'd put Rodriguez at 3 or 4. Exactly. He's not a 1. And I really don't think he's a 2 either, but he has pitched well. But he was with Detroit this year, so you can't really tell that way. But he did pitch for the Red Sox, so he has pitched in the division. He has pitched, in Fenway, in Yankee Stadium, so he is okay with pitching here. So that's the good part. Um, so I think he's a good fallback, without a doubt. He's a
Yep.
solid fallback option, but how much he's going to want, how much he's going to ask, because he's a left-hander. He's young. He's not that old. I think he's 30. So he's going to be, he's going to get a lot of money like him. Montgomery's going to get a lot of money now. Montgomery proven it in the playoffs. He's just adding money to his offers probably now. So
Yeah, for sure. And LI thinks that the Diamondbacks are going to acquire Rodriguez. I haven't heard any buzz about him whatsoever. I thought we were breaking news here on Upper Deck today. Um,
oh no, he's definitely going to go somewhere without a doubt. I mean, he's going to get money and he's going to opt out. He's going to get more than what he's got left on that deal. So he knows how much pitching is, how much pitching goes for now in the free agency. So
yeah. And yeah, FG, that sounds good to me. Um,
I don't know if that's going to happen. If they get Yamamoto, remember, he's going to get paid a lot of money too. So if they get Yamamoto, I wouldn't expect one of these top free agent guys. I would expect, maybe a guy you could think of is maybe they bring back Montas on a 1 year kind of low end show, you know, a show me deal, like a 1 year deal to kind of prove himself again. And so maybe they re-sign him to be the 4 or 5 starter and then trade Schmidt in a package for, let's say, we're going to be dreaming, but maybe for Soto. You never know.
well, and we've talked about this on a few of our shows. It's bothering me that I'm not seeing Nestor here. Oh,
Right, exactly. He's
where's Nestor in this lineup?
right.
And,
We're forgetting about him.
yeah,
He
why
would be.
gone,
Think
gone
about
and forgotten?
if you put him in here like Cole, Rodon, Yomamoto. You put him as your fourth. He's your fourth starter. That's really good depth. That's a really good rotation. Then the 5 could be Schmidt, could be Brito, could be King. Or those guys could be used as as trade pieces for if we go after Juan Soto.
Yep, and NFE, we that's definitely part of what we talked about. Put him back there. I think that would be would depend on what we do or do not get to happen in the bullpen because we still don't have that closer. And
Yeah, I don't think
Nestor would have to be built to be that guy. And I think we talked about that a bit on the show as well.
the
Um,
guy who I could see going to the bullpen, but not now because he's not going to be on our team. That would help him. I think it would be Severino. Severino, I think, could use a move to the bullpen because he's always hurt, right?
right.
So I think
Yep.
maybe him going to the bullpen might help him. I don't know, but
Right.
I don't think Nest is going to the bullpen though.
No.
I'll be honest. I'm
No.
not agreeing with that.
Right. And Jonathan, hey Jonathan, I missed you coming too. If there's anyone else I missed, love you. Nestor should be in long relief. Could Nestor close? That's what we talked
I
about.
don't know.
I
I don't see him as a closer though. I'll be honest.
I don't want to see him as a closer. I
yeah.
think what I said in a prior show is, what's good about him is that he does have that way of tricking hitters. You never know what's going to come next from him. He mixes things up really well.
Right.
And at the bottom at that last half of inning, that's what you want to do. But
And you know what? The other reason why I like Cortez as a starter because I have more confidence that Cashman and the Yankees could fill out their bullpen, could find pieces more for their bullpen than for their rotation. And we know what Cortez could do, right? When he's healthy, he's fine as a starter. And if you put him in as your number 4 starter, that's even better. Now you're not really expecting a lot from him, and he'll be a great number 4 starter if that's where he lands. But
yeah,
so that's why I think he'll be better as the starter.
Yep. And Carlos, I think that the very limited innings thing was really about an injury that was brewing last season.
Yeah, that probably had something to do with it. Sure.
For like 4 or 5 at the most 6 innings. I think Nestor this season, last season is a workhorse.
Yeah.
And could go further, but we would need to see him back. And given a slot in the rotation, and that seems to be something we're not hearing about, which is why we're not talking about him very much.
Right.
Let's not forget him. We love him. he,
Absolutely.
he's
Listen, unless he's going to be, I think Bobby just put him in the Soto deal since the Padres are focusing on pitching. Yeah, I agree. If we could get Soto, there you go. That solves a lot of issues. If we could get Soto, we're going to give up a lot to get him. It'll probably cost us two of our good starters, Thorpe, Warren. Absolutely. Those might be guys that are going to be part of a Soto deal. Got to remember, they want pitching, so they want at least two really good starters from us. Maybe they want Peraza. I don't know, but they're going to want pitching for sure.
So Li wants to know what we think about his starting rotation. Um,
Cole, Yamamoto, Rodon, acquired from the Reds, Drew Thorpe. Well, yeah. Are they going to go with that? I could see that. I guess are we trading away King, Schmidt, and Cortez? That's
that's
what I want to know. Like, what is he?
that's exactly what he's saying. Trade Cortez, Schmidt, and King, um, which I would not. I don't have an issue with this rotation. Feels pretty solid to me. And but I again I don't think. Well, first of all, Schmidt and King, remember where they came from. Do we want to trade them all together? If we were to have this and no longer need them, then then they go back to the bullpen, and where we know that we're solid. um
Right.
and Cortez, I think we just went through that. And yeah, Jonathan, I do think Nestor could close. And FJ, I absolutely think he has a bullpen arm, but I also think he still has an opening arm.
I think he's better as a starter. I don't see him really as a closer. If you're putting him in the bullpen, I see him as a long reliever more than a closer. Because he could give you 5, 6, innings. So we kind of forget this year. You can't really go by what we've seen this year, right? Because like you said, it was a lot of it had to do with the injury. So I think he's better suited as a starter for sure. But I don't mind this rotation if this ends up the rotation, if we end up with Soto because we traded away those other guys. Yeah, I'm all for it. Because they need offense obviously, and Soto is easily one of the best young hitters in the game today and best hitters overall in the game. So I'm all for it.
Jonathan, whatever the crystal ball is that you have,
Yeah, I could see that too.
yeah, I could see it. I want it. I could taste it. So let's all like make it happen.
Yeah, I'm with Jonathan.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's get Yamamoto, and hopefully a big trade for Soto is after that. That would be great.
yeah. I mean, bring another fiery soul onto the team. The team's been a bit lackadaisical, and so
Why is
young kid.
real quick? Why is Yankee King saying do not trade for Juan Soto? Why doesn't he want Juan Soto? That would be my question because
Well,
he's one of the best young hitters in the game.
because LA noticed that the name of the show is Stirring the Pot, and
Oh, so
maybe that's all. Maybe that's what he's doing. It would be very unlike him.
oh, okay.
Wink, wink. But he might actually also mean it. So feel free to tell us about.
I guess not to sign him to a big contract. I get that too, but you know what? In a couple of years, DJ will be gone right off the books. Then a couple more years after that, Stanton will finally be off the books. So I listen. I think Soto's the guy. If they could trade for him and sign him. I don't want to trade him just for 1 year either. So maybe that's what he means. Maybe he means he doesn't want him as a rental for one season. I'm okay with that. I agree. If they trade for him, they better sign him. They better have
Yes,
right. They better sign him because
100%.
I'm not in for giving up 3 or 4 really good players for a 1 year rental. No.
Right. And somebody said something very smart about this a few weeks ago. And call yourself out. I'm sorry. I'm old. My memory isn't what it used to be. But the thought was, have him sign on for 5 years with an option.
Right.
And do it that way. And,
Yeah.
so that also is something to consider for bringing him on.
And somebody in the chat brought up a name that I brought up a lot on my show too. Is Ryan McMahon. He's a third baseman for the Rockies. He's actually up for Gold Glove this season as well. Left-handed bat, a little bit of power as well. I would be totally fine with trading for him too. The big thing too, if you want to get into it, is I think what to do with Torres, right? What are they going to do with Torres? Are they going to sign him? That's another big one or the other, right? If they're either going to extend him or they're going to trade him. If they trade him, then you better bring in a guy like Ryan McMahon, maybe to play third, and Peraza goes to second, or they better replace. If you're going to trade, and I'm okay with trading him, I'm on the fence. I could go either way. I'm okay with keeping him, and I'm okay with trading him too. But if you trade him, you better find a good replacement for him, and it's not going to be Peraza. We don't know what Peraza could do offensively. Defensively, yeah, he's going to be a huge upgrade for Torres at second. We know that. But offensively, we just don't know yet what Peraza could do yet, right? So you better find a replacement offensively for him somewhere, whether it's at second or at third, because if you're going to keep Peraza could play third, then find a replacement for him at second or vice versa. So if you do trade for McMahon, that's not bad.
Right. Absolutely. And we just have not been impressed with Peraza at the plate.
Not yet. We don't know yet.
But he's young. Right. He hasn't been up that long. I'm just about going there. And the same with Pereira. And we didn't even really touch the outfields all that much. But, they can't all be Volpe, who, by the way, if you haven't seen it, is nominated for a Gold Glove at shortstop as in his rookie year. That's something worth mentioning. So, yeah. So let me revisit with you all the trivia question of the week, and I'll give you the answer as we promised. And I know at least one of you got it correct, and I believe it was NFE. So which New York Yankee won the 2009 ALCS MVP? And the answer is CC Sabathia.
And I know somebody guessed Matsui. Matsui, of course, won the World Series MVP that year. So maybe that's what they were getting mixed up.
Oh, okay.
And that's another thing. Like people would say, well, A-Rod carried us to the World Series victory, but we forget how good Matsui was in that World Series as well. So, and he won the MVP.
Yep. And I miss me some Matsui.
Yeah, I think we all do. Matsui was great.
Yep, he really was a great Yankee. And so, Chris, I before we close, first of all, I want to thank you so much for joining us. You brought so much conversation to the table. Just everyone, remember that Chris is with Talking Rivals at Talking Rivals. Check out their podcast, which usually drops on Mondays, except for this week where it's going to depend on if we're going to Game 7. And then it might drop on Tuesday and Wednesday instead. So keep your eye out for them. Excellent content. You're going to want to subscribe. And hey, Bernie, good to see you. We're just about wrapping up. I hope you've been here for a while. That's an old friend from high school, everybody.
Wow.
One of my first friends, first day freshman year.
Very cool.
All right, Bernie.
And I agree with what he's saying too. Torres's value, will Torres's value be any higher? No, it won't be. I would definitely trade him. If you could trade him now and get some young pieces for him, absolutely. But again, all I'm saying is if we trade him, they better find a replacement offensively for him, either at second or third, depending on what they do with Peraza, that I think that's the main thing. And I believe they will. Because will they sign him? Because we've seen him in the field make so many bonehead errors, right? And also running the bases, same thing. It's very frustrating. But he's got a really good bat for second base. So,
and if we didn't have him second half of this season, we wouldn't be able to be bragging about 500.
Right.
All right. So an important announcement about next week, chat regulars. Thank you. And please remember what this is saying up here. Next week and next week only, we're pivoting to Saturday at 11 when we'll be going live with our special guest, Julian Gilarte. I know that that's a name familiar to Yankees Twitter. So please, I'll be loading Twitter and Facebook with reminders, but you heard it here first. So, get those Saturday morning errands out of the way Friday night or Saturday afternoon, or now you're free Sunday mornings and you can do it then.
Mhm.
But next week only is Saturday, and then we'll resume our regular schedule. Um, and yeah, and Bernie is referencing our musical theater days in high school. Yes, Stars of Oklahoma. So anytime anyone wants to, maybe I'll get Bernie on and we'll do a show tune episode. Just kidding. Maybe a little Surrey with the fringe on the top, or oh, what a beautiful morning. Don't worry, guys. Not, I promise you, not
I
gonna.
think you're losing people, but
Yeah, I think everyone's leaving the chat. I
like,
just
what song is that?
hey, where's everyone going? All right. Okay. Thank you again, Chris.
Thank you so much, man.
Okay.
I'm always open to joining you guys. So whenever you need somebody, I'm always here for you guys. Trust me, I love chatting with you.
So and same here, and just really appreciate it. And Carlos, so nice to meet you too. Hoping to meet you in the stand someday. Bernie, I know lyrics to just about every show, so let me not scare people further. So I'm just gonna say thank you everyone for joining us for this week's Oprah Deck. And as always, you'll have a reserved seat with us right here every Sunday, except for next week, Saturday, 11 a.m. on the Upper Deck. Have a good week, everybody. See you later.
Have a great weekend.